Welcome back to our ongoing perspective drawing series with a focus on 2-point perspective. So in this video, this will be part 4 of our 2-point perspective series, and we will be focusing on distortion this time, distortion and 2-point perspective. So as you can see here, I've got my HL drawn as usual. And in this particular case, instead of putting my two vanishing points far apart, I'm going to bring them in a little bit, bring them in a little closer, and maybe draw a little smaller if I have to help get the point across. So that'll be VP1 and VP2. Okay, so just as in 3-point perspective, everything within the boundaries of the vanishing points, the contents within those vanishing points, the boxes and whatnot, are, let me just draw a straight line, are not experiencing distortion. They are normal, okay? And then anything outside of these green boundaries will be distorted. Anything that approaches these boundaries, that gets a little too close, will start to experience distortion. And then once it crosses, whether partially or completely, that box is just being distorted in some way, and then completely distorted if it exists outside in this space. Okay, so let's take a look and see how that works. So when I was doing the 3-point perspective, what I would do first is draw the normal box or boxes within the space. This time I'm just going to go ahead and draw from outside and work my way in. Make it a little more interesting, I guess shake things up a little bit. So let me start here, below the line, outside the border, working with vanishing point 2. So I will, and let me do those in color as well. So let me do it in blue. Okay, as usual, 2 radiating lines. Let me save this for when I'm working over here. Go. A, B, C, and D. And what I'll do is, okay, again, remember, no third vanishing point to worry about, so your vertical lines just go straight up and down at 90 degrees to horizon line. Every single time. All right. And then I will go ahead and determine the height of that box to be that. So that'll be D1 and C1. And then to get A1 and B1, we connect to vanishing point number 1. And my apologies if I've been getting out of camera range or going too low on the screen lately. I'll try and be a little more aware of that as I move along. All right, so that will be A1 and B1. lines up pretty accurately. There we go. Okay, that's already taken care of. So there is our first box. Let me darken those lines. All right, so look at how warped that box is right there. Okay, it's pretty skewed, and it's all the way outside the border. So let's do another one within the border, or another one that's partially out and partially in. Let's give that a try and see what that looks like. We'll do that on this side. So we will take a line from vanishing point number 1. And have a line come a little ways out. And then from vanishing point number 2, we will establish that base. I don't want it to be that big of a box. Okay, and then from there, we get into our perpendicular vertical lines. That's a little, that's a little careless there. Be a little more careful. There we go. There we go, and this will be our height. So you can compare these two boxes. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and this will be H1, H1. This will be E1, E1. All right. Oh boy, that was. Do that again. There we go. All right. And then connect H1 and E1 to vanishing point number 2. Like so. Like so. All right. And that will give me G1, and F1. Yep, that's correct. That's what that pause was all about. I was just sort of doing a double check, double take to make sure I knew which lines were what. so even though I've taken the time to label everything, I still, you still need to pause and make sure everything lines up and everything's in position, so you don't get things mixed up. All right, so there is, so there's that second box. Okay, so you have one box that's way out, completely distorted. You have one box that's partially in and partially out. So we can conclude, we can safely say that this whole box is distorted. The part that's outside is completely distorted. The part that's inside within the boundary is partially distorted, because remember, as the object approaches the boundary of the vanishing point, it begins to experience some level of distortion. So this is distorted somewhat, but more normalized than this box, right? Okay, so let's go ahead with, I'm just going to use the pencil, and let's place a box above the horizon line, just slightly above the horizon line. Let's do that relatively. That should be a quick thing to do. J, K, L, M. And then all we do is, my J looks like a V or a U. All right, and what I'm going to do is I am going to sort of eyeball but line that edge up with the horizon line. I'm going to turn this, well, yeah, let's do that. Bad line. Sure, I'm right on that point. Yes, I am being nitpicky. Then that's going to be my height. Well, let me make that my height. Let's ignore that. Strike that straight through. That becomes M1. And okay, J is in the back. L. This becomes L1. L1. There we go. And that becomes K1. All right. And then just to make sure everything's lining up nicely, it's lining up okay, not perfect, but okay, just okay. And I will just use my black pen to darken everything, and then we'll take a quick look at it, at what we've got. so lightly. I don't think it's going to disrupt any observations that you guys need to make. All right, so there we go. Okay, so we have a box within the boundaries of the two vanishing points. We have one box completely outside of the vanishing point, outside the boundary, and then we have another box that is partially in and partially out. You can see the distortion taking place. You can see it at an extreme here. Even though these kind of look the same, the distortion here is, according to the rule, there's more distortion here going on here than with this one. This portion definitely completely distorted. This portion normal, but there's some slight distortion going on there because of its proximity to this border, this line right here. And then this is completely normal. Okay? And it would even look more normal if these two vanishing points were further out, and then maybe I did the same thing with these boxes, like keep this one completely out and keep this one partially in and partially out. But then this would probably not be as squished. Or if it were smaller, you probably wouldn't see that little squishing effect. I'm seeing it. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. You can say in the comments what you're seeing, what you're thinking, and let me know if these demonstrations are working for you as well. All right, so that is 2-point perspective distortion. And in the next video, I will be talking about the 2-point perspective grid. That's always fun. All right, so I'm really enjoying 2-point perspective, even more so than 3-point. I always do. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Again, let me know in the comments. This is my visual arts channel, Stractify rather. And again, covering all things and exploring all things related to concepts and techniques in relation to drawing and composition at a foundational level. All right, I will see you in the next video. Take care.